For the players.
I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Max Cooper.
And this is For the Players, the PopCulturists PlayStation Podcast with over 40 years of playing PlayStation and 10 plus years in that games being combined. I'd like to thank you for joining us in this PlayStation conversation.
This PlayStation conversation happens every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast services, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you'd like to take part in future conversations with us or upcoming future celebrations with us, come check out our socials. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of those links can be found in the description below.
If you want to join us as the conversation happens, head over to twitch.tv/thepopculturists where you can watch us record this show live, where you can jump in the chat and become part of the show. If you want to support the show, you can. Tell your friends, tell your family about this PlayStation Pod. If you are listening on podcast services, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review. If you watch us on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, comment below. I endeavor to answer every single comment. And if you want to support us financially, you can at patreon.com/thepopculturists, as well as our merchandise store, popculturists.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. Now, Max, we talked about it last week. The PopC Facebook page is live. It doesn't have, like, any fucking, like, it's not popculture. It's facebook.com, so no idea. However, shout out to Stephen Forno for being the first person to like the page, even ahead of myself. So shout out to them. Oh man, there you go. Cool. We have Facebook. The Facebook page is back for those maybe coming in new. We lost access to it at some point, and then it just disappeared. It was really weird. Like it was almost like it was taken from us, and then not even remotely used for anything inappropriate or whatever. It's just sat dormant, and then fucked off.
Mm.
So it was really
kind of like how
weird.
it would sit dormant anyway.
Yeah,
it's like nothing changed.
It's that mostly dormant. At least I'd post something there like every Monday when the show came out. But yeah, hey, been man.
Too bad.
Yeah, as we were discussing before, because we're not recording live today because it's an out of time slot recording. But we were chatting just before we came in about.
Are you implying that our viewers have lives on a Saturday night? How
Yes.
dare you make such assumptions?
Very good point. But we were discussing, because, in the saga that is Max's house is slowly coming to an end as you got yourself a move-in date.
It's the Final Fantasy of sagas.
Yeah.
It's just never ending. Yeah, no, we finally have a move-in date. So we did our final check on Friday. So yesterday at time of recording. We are set to move in 3 weeks' time. Friday the 12th.
So whatever that weekend is, someone else will be with me. Or
Mid-May. Or it's going to be just right. Although, because I get the keys Friday, I'm hoping to have everything moved by Saturday afternoon. And if I can... I don't want to fuck around.
All right, fair.
I'm going to hire a truck on the Saturday. I'm going to spend the Friday moving all my shit to the front door. And then on Saturday, all my friends are going to come and help me. I'm going to load everything in the back of the truck and fucking zip over there. They're going to unload everything, and I'm just going to set the house up straight away.
Set the house on fire. Just...
Nah, our insurance policy states that we're not covered for the first 48 hours for fires or flooding.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry,
that must happen frequently enough that they need to put that in their policies. So that's interesting.
So someone runs in, floods their brand new house, and like, oh no.
Well, they have a party and set fire to it, and it's like, yeah.
Well, technically, it specifies bushfire, so I wonder if normal fire is covered because I'm definitely not in a bush.
No.
I am in a floodplain though, so
yes.
Please don't rain for 2 days. 48
but
hours.
But it's exciting times, man. It's very cool. As we said, like I remember when I moved into the house that I built. Well, I didn't build with my ex-wife, and it was cool. It was a very cool day moving into the house that is yours. You designed it, all these things. Yeah, moving out.
My wife's already talking about fucking painting some of the rooms.
Okay, what's your house? What the fuck you want?
No, let's just live in it for a little bit. Let's not start renovating and changing things straight away.
But it's one of those things that you can do in that house, so why not?
I agree.
Why not?
But I would like to enjoy that new house smell for a little while before filling it with paint again.
Yeah, that's true.
Just a little bit, like maybe a weekend. Although it makes sense to do it straight away before everything's moved in.
Correct.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, because it probably would have been more expensive to like ask them to paint each room different color or whatever. So
Correct.
at least, you just do it yourselves now. Yeah. And it would be like
Just
the
like-
freshest base coat ever. Because
It's like a fucking murder scene. Just throw the paint up. What about you? How was your?
Oh, my week has been garbage. Absolute garbage. So I found out this week I'm being made redundant, so that's cool. In a department that I helped build and create, and I do many things for that keep it operating on the daily. Apparently, my job isn't of value, so it isn't required.
Co-creator and facilitator of
Co-creator,
like,
facilitator, daily operations, you name it. Like I've done
overseeing.
everything within that space at some point, and so I'm out. I don't entirely have an end date yet, but I am on the hunt for a new job. So if there's anyone that listens that's from Geelong and wants to hire me, please hit me up. That'd be cool. I'd appreciate that because, as I said, single father in a rent house. I don't have any savings simply because I didn't take any money from my ex-wife or any of our savings or anything because she needs that for our son. So I'm a little fucked is in short. And yeah, it's a weird feeling. But I have a job interview somewhere on Thursday. I think it pays less than what I get now, which is a downside. But yeah, it's better than no job, I guess. And thankfully, I have been hit up by a couple of friends. They're like, hey, there's might be something we can do over here for you. It's not quite where I think I'd end up, or what I might want to do, but it's kind of a circumstance of why I need money, and that's an option. But yeah, we'll wait and see on that one. Look, if push comes to shove, hey Max, you know how I lived with that one time?
We could totally use the money from
Yeah. Downside, I don't have any money.
Downside is you're also in a lease.
If I get made redundant, I can actually request to get broken out of it. I'm like, I simply can't afford it. I don't have a job, and they can break it. So
that's right then.
Allegedly, but I guess I'll find out. Well, I certainly don't hope I have to find out, but
that's when you do the old house hackeroo when you sublet to a bunch of people and they pay the rent for you. You don't have to move out. You just bring more people in.
Yeah, but then I have to deal with
highly illegal, but
yeah. But the problem is the reason I live the way I do is because I want a house for me and my son. Like I don't want to have to have my son deal with a bunch of fucking randos.
What you got to do is you got to get a housemate like my old housemate who just paid his rent but never actually lived in the house.
That's a good deal.
He's
Where'd
like,
you get that one?
do you remember Mav?
Yeah.
Yeah, he ended up going to Bendigo for uni, and he's like, I'm just going to keep paying rent because I may want to come to Geelong at some point. So I'm going to keep paying rent. I'm going to keep my key, and I can come and go as I please. Like, okay.
Where did he sleep?
I never came back. He paid rent for 6 months until the end of our lease, and then he's like, all right, I'm moving out.
Like, you didn't even move in.
I kept his room how it was at the time. And then when he properly moved out, he took all his stuff. But for about 6 months, he was paying rent and not living here, just in case he wanted to come back.
That is a good luxury to that dude.
He essentially paid to store all his shit here.
Yeah.
So that's what you need.
I want one of them. Can I have one of them?
You need a few of those.
Yeah. Give me 2 of those. I'll store. I've got a big shed. I'll store people's shit for money. Ooh.
Neck minute is just like a fucking meth den in your garage.
That could make money.
Solve multiple problems.
Yeah, I can't quite pay the electricity bill, but there is industrial level power shit out there. I could make a sweet grow house in my garage. I'm not making grow house in my garage for anyone that might be listening. Wink.
Yeah, here's a backyard for that.
Yeah.
What?
But yeah, look, I have to look at the bright side of it. I have to fucking giggle. I have to try and make fun of it. Otherwise, I'll just cry. So, it's the only way to do it.
Okay, at this most inappropriate moment, all I could think about then is Monty Python. Always look on the bright side.
Yeah, even when you get kicked out of your job. Funsies.
Such a fucking shitty situation.
Yeah, it is shitty. But if I don't happen to get a job, I can play games a lot.
So he's going full time.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, it'd be way too. No, I'd be like, I would never.
You're like, I'm too old. I'm too old.
I am too old. I don't think I could actually do it. I personally don't think I could do it.
Can you fit a hot tub in your streaming room?
I'll find a way. If that was to become my gig and I become a booby streamer, I would repurpose this room for my boobies. I could make tens of dollars, Max. Tens of dollars. Because, like, think about it, right? It's hard enough. It's been hard enough for me to find individuals in my life that want to, like, look at me inappropriately without having to pay them to pay me money. So then adding the proviso of them having to pay me money, it's a very shallow pool.
What, that you're sitting in, or of people?
Both. Because it's quite an extensive cost to fill a little jacuzzi. Yeah. But yeah, I can play games. Speaking of playing games, that's what the show is about. Not about, like, the dire straits that is my existence. Max,
How have you been taking out your frustrations this week? What games have you been playing?
I myself.
Would you like me to kick?
No, I can kick things off. So, thanks PlayStation Australia, we did receive a review code for the latest DLC for Horizon Forbidden West, The Burning Shores. I have been playing Horizon most this week. Not the DLC, actually, because obviously that arrived on Friday, the same day as release. Thursday?
It was Thursday midnight it came in.
Yeah.
It was like literally right on release.
Well, it was 10 p.m. because it was New Zealand time. New Zealand midnight.
The old NZT.
Yes, we got it, Thursday night, and then I did have to go to my day job on Friday, and then I went out for dinner and stuff last night, which I really couldn't afford, but I did because I was like, I just need to do something. So I didn't do that. So prior to that, though, I did just play more of the game to sort of get back into the swing of it, because if anything, as I booted up and I went, I don't remember any of this.
Got to remember how to Aloy.
Well, yeah, seeing as like we played it at the beginning of 2022, and like we rolled credits on it, like, I did not long after.
I was going to say, I think you're using the Royal Week.
Yeah.
We did not play it at all.
No, I did. You did not. Yeah, so that was Dunskies, and that was enjoyable. Go back to it, I was like, oh, cool, I'll do some side quests, I'll attack some rebel outposts, I'll get the minutia back in, right? Remember how to play, remember how to, like, fucking fling arrows and make
rejigger the muscle memory.
Yeah, make the robots, fall apart and steal their shit. But yeah, no, speaking of muscle memory, like, it did come in real quick, which was really nice. It really didn't take too long for it to get back into the swing. Yeah, no, it was super quick. That wasn't too bad at all. Wasn't too bad. But the DLC, however, like, I'm really not that super far into it, because I did only start playing it this afternoon at time of recording. So essentially, I won't go into too much spoilers. So Silence, essentially you get a call from Silence who's like, hey, come see me at Tilda's mansion, and Tilda, for reference, is the character that Carrie Ann Moss played. They're one of the Zeniths. And he goes, oh man, you know how you thought, that thing that happened? Yeah. Well, there's more people from the thing that happened, and one of them is over at this place called the Burning Shores. No, I'm being vague for reasons, because it's like a big second act story. Spoiler.
I'm like, you're saying a lot of words that I already don't know, and now you're just making more words that and making them
you
less
may
sense
not
to me.
know, but like there are other people that may be watching this that like I don't want to spoil it for them either.
Look, I'll get to it one day. I think it came out at a really bad time for me.
No, it didn't. Oh, it came out
it
same
did.
time as Elden Ring. Yeah, it totally did.
I think it did.
Yeah, it totally did. Yeah, so then you go, all right, and they're like, Burning Shores. That's what used to be called Los Angeles. And I was like, oh, thanks, Lance Reddick. Let's go to Los Angeles. And it's kind of interesting. I made this joke to you in the group chat that we have, where it feels very second Avatar. Because you fly off in the distance and then you land in this what used to be Los Angeles. So within the game, essentially the whole east coast of America is jacked because of global warming or whatever. So what was like Las Vegas or Nevada, which is a sandy desert area, is now entirely underwater. So of course Los Angeles is fucking underwater. So you fly over it, and it's very like tropical. It's all islands. It's all greens and blues and sand and reefs. Like straight up, just the second Avatar movie. You go there, everything's just that little bit different.
Sam Worthington's
there. That the enemy from the first movie's back, and he has a kid now, and he's one of there's a kid who thinks he's a robot, so he's hanging out with all the robots. That's not what happens at all. But you go there. Like a sun wing is called a water wing, and it's slightly different. And they have boats because they're all island based. So like, hey, we have boats, and we've worked out fucking motorboat technology. The engine, not the thing you do with the boobies. Throwback to Twitch.
Throwback. Didn't know that was a technology.
It had to be invented one day, right? Had to be. Yeah, so you go there, and that's pretty cool. And then you do a bunch of things. And, like, as of right now, I've seen a couple of, like, different robots. There's, like, a big fuck-off frog that just spits acid everywhere. He's a prick. Then there's also these weird little, like, eggs. And it's almost like, so you walked and it kind of goes, whoop, boo. And this little, like, fucking mosquito fly-looking thing comes out and then attacks you. So that's a cool little, like, adaptation, evolution in a Pokemon third generation, technically, I guess. 2.5. This is the crystal. This is the crystal to gold and silver. With some new Pokemons, mostly the same. Things a little bit different, slightly new location. But no, it's cool. It's fun. The game still looks utterly beautiful. Utterly stunning. It did take me a second to sort of come back into the game from a visual perspective. So I think we talked about this when we first played it. Because there's so much going on the screen, just from a fidelity standpoint, like foliage is dense, everywhere you look, there's so much, like just high quality detail. It's almost overstimulating. But to then, once you consciously start ignoring all that stuff, which is then super weird, like why put that there if you want to consciously ignore it? You can suddenly start focusing on the right thing, where like getting lost in all the crap around you. But yeah, look, the game's very, very good. I still obviously have a long way to go. Apparently, it's like a
third of the size
8
of
hours or something, which is, it's not brutal. Like I think I finished the main campaign like 30 hours, I guess. So 4 to 8 hours is pretty tight. I ain't too mad. I forget how long the Frozen Wilds were. But there are some cool new things as well. Like there's some cool new traversals, as in there's like fucking spouts of water. What are they called? Like geysers, and you can, using your glidey thing, you can and like get rocketed in the air. You can now change the color of your outfits, which I don't believe you could do in the previous one. You could. Well, I don't know. I never did, but I found it now. I went, I'm gonna change the color of my thing. But yeah, like I'd wait. It's only $30, so the DLC is not too expensive. There are some catches though. You must have finished the campaign to play the DLC, and it is only available on PS5.
Because of them clouds, right?
Yeah, because of clouds and I don't know, fucking hair physics or something. I think I would assume there's some sort of data somewhere that they went, oh man, we didn't sell that many on PS4. Let's put on PS5.
Fair enough.
But yeah, You've been playing some rad games. So
I
Max,
have been playing some rad games.
What dropped on your
So thanks to the team over at Square Enix and Bandai Namco Australia, I was lucky enough to score the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster.
Woo.
So Final Fantasies 1 through 6. Now I know a couple of weeks ago, it might have actually been last week, I gave you a list of my play. I'm like 3, 6, 1, 2, 4, 5. Threw that out the window, started at number 1. I actually rolled credits on number 1 just before we started recording the show.
Nice.
So I clocked in at 5.5 hours to finish it. So again, this is just the same game, the original game, remastered, made, all the images are a bit more crisp and sharp. It's still that pixelated version. It's not like the 3D remakes that happened for 3DS a while back.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the same game mode that happened to the 20th anniversary for mobile devices. So there was a 20th anniversary version that had one extra dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
So Final Fantasy 1 is where it all began. I think it came out in 87 originally, so a little bit before I was born. You play as the Warriors of Light. So each character has essentially one of the elemental crystals. Pardon me. Air, earth, wind, fire, air. Yeah, water, not wind.
It's also Captain Planet.
Yeah, pretty much Captain Planet, and you are out to save the world.
Yay.
You gotta fiends have taken over each of the crystals. You need to go and rescue them, realign them, get their chakras in order, and then beat the final boss. So I've done that. I've got 1 trophy left to get the plat. Turns out just playing the game will give that to you. Haven't had to go too far out of my way to get anything done.
Well, as you discussed last week, you'll only go for platinums if they just happen to fall in front of you.
Yeah,
and this will do exactly that.
So I finished the game and I have 1 trophy left, so I'm going to go back and get it and get the plat, I think.
Yeah, see if you can plat all 6 for funsies.
So with a lot of the remasters that they've done, they've added in the boosts. So they did it in.
Oh, it's like the little Game Shark things where you can like.
Yeah. So this game has no encounters. You can toggle encounters on and off, so you will only fight necessary encounters. All random battles get turned off, and then it's you get a choice of an XP booster, so 1, 2, 4 times, and the same for currency 1, 2, 4 times. So, and they don't disable trophies.
So did you bump them?
So just bumped them up. I've played all these games before. I bumped everything up and went through. Game still holds up.
Well, it's because you made it super easy. You cheesed it.
I mean, it's pretty easy originally. Like it's an old NES game. About 4.5 hours to 5 hours to play. Solid game. Pixel Remaster so far is off to a flying start. I'll start number 2 tonight, most likely.
Nerd. That's cool.
One down, 5 to go. And also, shout out to the team over at Play on Australia. I have been playing Dead Island 2.
Yeah, man.
I've played I've played for about an hour. I've done the first prologue bit. Chose my character because you get a choice of characters this time around.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not too far in. So this one's set in Halle.
Okay.
It starts off plane crash, rescue some survivors. They introduce the zombies, and then you kind of get into it. So that's the point I'm up to. So I haven't explored much. It is very reminiscent of the zombie games that were about 10 years ago.
Yep. Funnily
enough, when the game was originally due to drop.
See, fun fact. I think I mentioned this already. So in episode 2 of the PopCulturists, the first ever time, like this is when we were on radio. Our first episode was our pilot, which we recorded randomly, and then a couple of weeks later, we went and did our first weekly show, and it was E3 2014, and that was where they showed the original Dead Island 2 trailer that had the song "The Bomb" by Pigeon John, which we used in that episode of the radio show, and it had Aaron Paul and Jack Black in it. There were voices at the end, presuming that they would be voicing characters within the game. I don't know whether that still is the case. I presume not.
I can't tell you.
But yeah, as long as the PopC has existed, and it's since its original inception, only now is this going to go out.
So yeah, it is very reminiscent of those. Similar gameplay to what the original Dead Island was, similar to like Dead Rising, all those games where you pick up pretty much anything you can get your hands on. They become weapons. You can craft them. You can make them crazy. You can put fucking chainsaws on paddles and all kinds of stuff. The character system's pretty cool. So at the start, you get to pick from I think it was 4 characters, and each of them have their own unique build. So some will have more max health than others. Some will have better stamina. Some can run faster and all that stuff. And then each player has their own unique skills. So the one I picked was on critical hits. It releases like a shockwave, so it'll also damage all zombies around you. And then you get increased stamina recovery when surrounded by zombies. Okay. So I think that seems cool. They play well towards each other's strengths. So I gain stamina. You use more stamina to use the heavy attacks, which stuns them, and I gain stamina back faster if I'm surrounded by zombies.
Yeah.
But again, I've played like half an hour to an hour of it, just on the prologue. I've killed like 10 zombies. The game looks great. It's very dark. I had to do some finicky stuff with my monitor, with the HDR settings and whatnot.
Okay.
But that's understandable. My monitor does that for a lot of games. So that's not an issue, but it looks really good so far. Yeah. A lot of the animation style is fantastic. The character models look really good. The cutscenes so far have been pretty spot on. Yeah, I look forward to playing. I love those. I love games like this. Just that I played the original Dead Island way back when. Riptide wasn't great from memory. I don't think I enjoyed that much, but the Dead Rising games, the Dead Island game, I love that style of just being able to use anything to kind of
well, because you're a massive fan of Dying Light.
Yeah. So it's all that genre is great, but as with Dying Light, I can't comment to Dead Island 2 yet because I just haven't put enough time in it. They feel to a degree dated because I feel like that game type, that zombies gameplay, is just over. Like even between Dying Light 1 and Dying Light 2, there was a huge gap.
Yeah.
And there's this 9 to 10 year gap here with Dead Island and Dead Island 2. It seems like, I don't know if we've moved on from that genre of gameplay yet.
I would say we have.
It seems very dated to a degree, but it looks fantastic and it still plays well from what I've experienced so far. But it does have that it's that feeling of been there, done that kind of thing. Even though it has these upgraded visuals, it's running better and all that stuff, it still feels that you can still feel the age of it. Yeah. I don't know if I'm articulating that well enough. But...
No, I get what you're saying. It's the idea of like it's like when we played Kena, and it's like, hey, this feels like an old PS2 game, and it really did. And it's because there are certain little tropes and
like, granted, that's not always detrimental to the game.
No, but it's just... in this case, it might feel that way.
Yeah. Thank you. That's
He's done. All right, I'll let you talk about what other games you've been playing this week. I'm going to quickly blow my nose because I'm on the back end of a cold. I'll be right back.
We go for it. Other games I've been playing this week, I've been playing more Call of Duty DMZ. It's my go-to game at the moment. A little bit of Rocket League, and obviously a little bit more Destiny 2. Yeah, we'll get there with Final Fantasy. It's going to take a long time to get through the 6. Friend of the show, MGB, reached out to me on Twitter a couple of nights ago, I think just when Final Fantasy had launched, the Pixel Remaster had launched. He's diving in for the first time, so I'm hoping he's getting through that and enjoying his time with it. If you are, let me know. Keep chatting away to me. And I'll keep you posted on how I'm traveling through them as I get to them.
Nice. What else have I been playing? Anything else this week? Played a bit more Dredge, not much more. Did my WWE 2K23 on Thursdays. We have been still number 1. No, other than that, it's pretty much just been a Horizon Forbidden West sort of week. Yeah, excellent.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, let's get into the section we call Inform the Players. We tell you about what happened this week in PlayStation. And it's a pretty quiet week, Max. Except this one is a pretty reasonably, potentially substantial bit of news.
Yeah, I mean, I said it I said it in our chat earlier this week. I'm just sick of these large corporations just buying up and absorbing the little
really big known studios that have got track records.
It's like you have your own talent. Why do you have to bring in new people? Just make good shit yourself. Like anyway, a new addition has come to the PlayStation family. Sony has added another team to its PlayStation Studios portfolio. In recent times, they have added a few smaller teams, the likes of
Firesprite and Valkyrie and Haven.
The guys who do the
Savage
PC ports.
Nixus,
thank you. This seems to be another one of those. We've added Firewalk. I did the same thing last time, didn't
Firewalk
I?
Studios.
Firewalk Studios to the portfolio. So in a PlayStation blog post, I can't speak. Herman Hulse stated that Sony has been, quote, impressed by the team's ambitions to build a modern multiplayer game that connects players in new and innovative ways. The studio shares our passion for creating inspiring worlds grounded in exceptional gameplay, and we want to continue to invest in their mission. We're excited for Firewalk Studios to bring their technical and creative expertise to the PlayStation Studios to help grow our live service operations and deliver something truly special for gamers. The studio is headed up by Tony Hugh and Ryan Ellis, who released the following statement, quote, over 5 years ago, we jumped at the chance to set up a new studio and build a new IP from the ground up. Recalling our own favorite times with games, we founded Firewalk Studios around the idea of delivering memorable moments. Those amazing had to be their times shared with other people. Our goal is to deliver those shared moments of joy to players around the world.
So this is new news, but not so. Firewalk and PlayStation did have a strategic deal a number of years ago around working together to create an online multiplayer game. So essentially, it looks like whatever they were developing, Sony went, "Ooh, we like it, come in."
Yeah, pretty much.
But as you mentioned, what makes this exciting is the individuals that are heading up this studio are ex-Bungie people.
Yeah.
So they must really like the cut of Bungie's overall jib, like so much so they're like, "Hey, old talent, come back," which is great because if they're going to be using Firewalk alongside, Bungie to build up their potential to create some really cool, whether it be new first party shooters or any sort of online multiplayer game, having all the brains is pretty cool. So unlike Bungie, though, Firewalk will be part of the first-party teams, as where Bungie is owned by PlayStation or owned by Sony and PlayStation. However, it does sit off to the side, where this is very much brought in. Very similar to the likes of Savage. There's not a lot of history here to pull from. So unlike Microsoft, we're like, oh, they've bought this studio who has games like this, that, and the other, because they still can't make their own games. We're here, they've gone, all right, well, we've created a relationship with a brand new studio. We create a strategic deal. We like the cut of their jib. We're bringing them in. So it is that a lot more of that organic growth that PlayStation has continued to focus on. Now, this does make it the 20th studio under the brand, which is a lot. But it looks as if very similar to the likes of Nixus and like Bluepoint is the idea of like, okay, we've got teams here with specific purposes, like they're here for a reason. So with this looks to be just more of an extension of that live service. So one of the biggest concerns we had, and many people had, when PlayStation essentially announced their own roadmap of like, we're going to do X amount of live service games and we were like, oh shit, that means they're going to put Naughty Dog and San Diego and Santa Monica and Gorilla all on, like stepping away from the games that make PlayStation brilliant.
I mean, Naughty Dog are totally still making a live service game.
Oh yeah, but I mean, like, not exclusively though. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're not being subjected to, you have to make these games. Like, you can make them if you want to, but if you want to focus on continually, you know, making those great first party adventure games, whatever it is you want to make, whether it be like, you know, Ghost of Tsushima 2, whichever, you don't have to feel obligated to meet this demand because we've got other studios to do that. Which I think is a great way. It lets the players, the customers know that they will still get the things that make PlayStation great, but they'll also be open. There'll be a way for them to create the revenue that I assume that they don't get from the ongoing the dollars. That makes sense. Yeah. And look, you know, both of these individuals, once again, as I said, from Bungie. PlayStation needs its own shooter multi. Like, this has to be what they're building, right? Has to be. Like, especially now with the loss of Call of Duty, they're like, you know, because it is inevitable and it is coming. They're like, well, we'll need to make our own thing. And does Firewalk have the legacy of an Activision, of a Infinity Ward or a Treyarch or a Sledgehammer? No, but they could. What's your thoughts, Max?
Pretty much the same. Like you said, you know, it's good that they're not just snapping people up with already made IPs. They're growing them from the ground up, and you know, they can obviously see the value in that team that they had been working so closely with. So why not bring them in, give them that extra support, give them that safety net of, we know you can make cool shit. Now you don't have to worry if you want to get a little bit crazy with it next time.
Yeah.
You've got that backing, you've got that safety net. You can you have that ability to, not to, you know, belittle what they do, but, you know, throw the shit at the wall and see what sticks type of thing.
I think you've got a very good point there, especially around, because what separates, you know, successful multiplayer games from
You don't
others.
have to go for that. You don't have to go for that safe game style.
Yeah.
You can try something new, and if it fails, it's okay because we can catch you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what separates them.
You know.
It's like the two things that separate successful multiplayer games is, you know, budget for one, because they need the money to meet the likes of Fortnite and Call of Duty and whomever, and also the ability for that creative freedom. So where they don't feel like carbon copies, as you mentioned, and that's a very, very good point. Very, very good point. But yeah, this is going to be a wait and see. We may not see the fruits of this for a little while, but it's certainly a good thing. Because I remember a couple of weeks ago, we said, would we be responding as critically to PlayStation if they had done the ABK purchase? And the answer would have been yes. And we're like, well, any acquisition will come with scrutiny. And we look at the scrutiny on this and we go, it's not much to scrutinize. No. There really isn't. Like, and that's like no biasy console bullshit here. It's just like, well, okay. They have great potential. Like when they picked up Sucker Punch, they were nobodies. Look at them now. Naughty Dog, same thing.
Making movies and shit.
Yeah, man. The second piece here is because it's that quiet of a week. Firmware updates. We've improved the system.
Come on, you love that. You love that. There was also a DualSense Edge update. Ooh. Apparently, not one for the standard peasant controller.
There isn't one. Oh. Have you been using your Edge?
I only use my Edge.
Yeah. Oh, because it's right there. You can plug her in.
I have the benefit of being able to sit close enough to my console that I can have it plugged in because the battery life's still asshole on it.
Yeah. Are you getting the benefits out of it? Is that why you're so good at DMZs now? Got them back buttons? No?
That ain't bot.
Oh.
I'm kidding. I don't check. Don't ban me.
Are you using the paddles in the DMs?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So my set out is this paddle jumps and this paddle knifes.
Ooh.
So I've got melee and jump So I never have to take my thumb off the aim, the thumbstick to aim. I can do everything I need to do whilst being able to aim at all times.
Do you believe it gives you a strategic advantage over every other fucking player?
Yes, because I can still look around while I'm reloading or jumping or ducking and crouching, and
That's true. That's mostly where I get shots. That's a very good point. Yeah.
Very much so. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to read the next one because fuck you. One thing, like, look, we had the state of play last week with Final Fantasy, but the one thing that's been looming forever is, like, when's the next fucking PlayStation showcase? Because apparently there's one rumor to every 25 minutes according to Twitter.
When are we seeing Spoods?
Yeah, that's actually a very good question. When are we seeing Spoods? But
it's on my list. Please let me see Spoods this year.
But yeah, so the word for quite some time, according to what's been written here, has been that Sony will hold a PlayStation showcase this summer, and then the previous winter, and the previous spring, and the previous fall.
And last Tuesday.
And then possibly tomorrow. And then maybe one right now. Because E3 is it's not E3, because fucking Twitter is a hot
Spoiler
mess.
alert, this is the PlayStation show.
Yeah, oh my god.
Prepare for some disappointment.
Oh my god, we have nothing.
There's no world premieres, nothing's been shown.
No, it's just two fucking dudes. Wouldn't that be poo? Shout out to us, though, for being the opportunity to be a PlayStation showcase. But, yeah. So, with E3 2023 officially cancelled, it's entirely up to the manufacturer when it wants to schedule this alleged broadcast. And Giant Bomb's a generally reliable Jeff Grubby B. Grubb has been beating the, quote, before Summer Games Fest, end quote, hammer for quite some time. Summer Game Fest is currently scheduled to take place on the 8th of June, and Grubb believes that Sony's big broadcast could occur as early as May, or, quote, maybe, end quote, early in June.
He's doing the Paul James. He's like, I called it. As long as it happens before Summer Games Fest, I'm right. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Then if you have enough asterisks, you may be correct. To be fair to the journalist, however, he has been bang on with a number of state of plays predictions, so he clearly has the ear to some good source. However, he has made a lot of claims.
He's been horrendously wrong too.
Oh yeah. He's like he's been right sometimes, but how many times he's been fucking wrong. Max, do we get the showcase at the end of the month?
No. No, I think June is probably where it's going to happen. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if it's just during that E3 week when everyone else is doing their thing. Will it be a showcase? I'm maybe. Could I see them just doing a big info dump on the PlayStation blog on a random Tuesday? Yes.
Look, there's enough here to speculate, but there's always been enough to speculate, but especially right now. So we look at what the future holds for PlayStation. As of right now, the only thing we know about is Marvel Spider-Man 2.
And whatever factions will be. But
whatever that will be. But even then, like that... No, but that doesn't have a date. It's got nothing, right? Pardon me. Released with Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man Deuce, we know that it's coming this year. Now, the rumor mill right now is September. So, using the standard 3-month marketing cycle, which I still believe is the best, that does put it at around June. However, it's also possible that it might come out in, say, November, which means they ain't got to do dick for a while, or they could still announce it right about now, very similar to what they did with Ragnarok, and they go, hey, it's in 6 months, it's coming out. Yeah. And they can start ramping up. So, it does make sense for May or June. And look, to add to that, outside of Spider-Man, Factions is somewhere. Wolverine's next year, possibly. And that's it. We have no idea what everybody else is doing. You know, we know that there'll be an MLB next year. There was one this year that got literally zero fanfare or marketing. So much so that we didn't even get a code. Like, I think I'm one of the only, like, there's got to be like 5 of us in the country that asked for MLB the show. And it didn't happen. So that was super weird. You know, and then you look at the list. Bluepoint's the one that's probably the most possible because, like, they had Demon Souls wrapped at the beginning of the console generation. And, of course, there's all those various... rumors that they've been involved in, whether it be Metal Gear or Bloodborne, etc. Sucker Punch would still be working on the next Ghost of Tsushima, I think, from memory. Naughty Dog probably talk factions. Sony Santa Monica will be quiet for a while. Guerrilla just now dropped the Burning Shores DLC, so they'll be quiet for a while. Pixel Opus, they haven't really done anything since Concrete Genie, and that was the back end of 2018, 19. So it's been a while, but they're a much smaller team. There's a lot of room for something, but there's also not a lot of room for anything. So do I think it's happening? No. Could it happen? Maybe.
I mean, anything could happen.
Anything could happen. Like, it's one of those things. Anything can happen between now and whenever. The future is limitless. Would I like to see it? Yes. Is it needed? Kind of, yes. Like, not that there's any major concerns from anyone. Like, most people tend to see the future does look bright with PlayStation, so they're not really worried. So,
yeah,
as you said, you may not think it's coming ahead, but with what I've just laid out, is there anything that you agree, disagree?
It all depends on, I mean, the obvious answer is it depends on if they have something to show or not.
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to hold a showcase to show off 20 minutes of Spider-Man. They're going to do a state of play for that. Yeah. They're not going to do one of those big showcases. And unless these rumors are true about this handheld device coming out at the back end of the year, maybe they can put together a bit of a showcase. They can show off maybe Factions has finally got some gameplay they can show off. They can show off some Spider-Man 2. They can show off whatever this remote play PSP thing is.
The Q-Lite?
Yeah, it just depends on what they have to show and what they can show and what they're willing to show. Because if they've got nothing to show, or they're not willing to show anything, they're just not going to do it.
Yeah, well, that's if anything. PlayStation have shown that they're willing to stay quiet.
Yeah.
And we're now at, like, once again, the other previous assumption was that they have stayed quiet, because of this whole acquisition stuff with ABK and Microsoft. But I think they've been quiet for too long if that was the reason. I think they did it long enough to prove a point or to not make waves or whatever, but make some fucking waves.
Yep. All right, quick bits.
Woo! Quick, very, very short show this
Very short show. Final Fantasy XVI has a pre-launch stream that has been announced for the 11th of June to show off some of the endgame content and some more stuff that they didn't show us a few weeks ago.
Would you be watching that, or have you seen literally everything?
No, I'll be watching it. Yeah.
What, really? You're not like, I'm already sold on this game. Why show me more?
I mean, I was sold when they said Final Fantasy 16. Like, I didn't have to see it. I was already sold.
It was like, Final Fantasy, yes.
The answer to the question of why Hogwarts Legacy had no Quidditch is because they've made a standalone game. Harry Potter Quidditch Champions has been announced.
Yeah, so it's not made by Avalanche. It's a completely separate studio.
Mm-hmm.
No connections to Hogwarts Legacy, really.
No, there's apparently a closed gameplay thing happening now. I signed up for it. I wasn't lucky enough to get in.
Should send them a picture of your tattoo. Be like, oi, invite me, you bastards.
Sony has raised the prices of its Steam games in some regions. Almost double what they were.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where? Obviously not Australia, because that's $200 a game. Jesus.
THQ Nordic has announced that they're having a showcase that is set for the 12th of August.
Man, like, that's cool because THQ Nordic have a fuckload of games. So many games. Like, that'll be an intense showcase. Actually,
they have said they're going to have their own world premieres.
Oh, okay. You know what?
You've sold me.
No. Like, you said world premieres. Check it out. Like, THQ Nordic have enough IP.
Oh, they have all the IP.
Yeah, to make it interesting.
They have them all.
Oh yeah, I'll check it out.
Diablo 4 will be getting another beta to stress test the servers before launch on May the 12th to the 14th. So, open beta weekend.
Well, seeing as it's gone gold, like, it's exciting times ahead.
Mm-hmm. Cult of the Lamb DLC Relics of the Old Faith is launching this week.
Yeah, wait, so it'd be launching today as of the show goes live.
Yes, correct.
Yep. Fuck, I'm excited, eh?
And according to PlayStation Game Size, Jedi Survivor weighs in at a cool 147 gigabytes.
Jesus.
Hope you all got two hard drives.
I do now, thankfully. And hopefully we'll be playing Star Wars Jedi Survivor very soon. Well, I know it comes out next Friday, but I'm very keen to get all up in it, get some Star Wars action going on, get some of the wars.
And because I sent Ryan the old news doc, here are the upcoming titles
Oh.
because they're on mine.
Thanks, Max.
Coming out April 25th, we have After Image PS4, PS5,
Nice.
Fairy Fencer F Refrain Chord PS4, PS5, Strayed Lights PS4, PS5, and Tram Sim Console Edition PS4.
I thought
PS5.
you had me at Train Sim. I was like, oh, it Tram Sim. Ooh.
April 27th, we have Kazuna AI Touch the Beat PS4 and Live a Live PS4, PS5.
Oh, Live Alive. Nice.
Yeah, Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak PS4, PS5 is coming to April 28th, along with Nuclear Blaze on PS4 and Star Wars Jedi Survivor PS5.
Speaking of Tram Sim, before we started the show today, once
You were on a
again, huh?
You thought you were in the Matrix?
No, I was on a train. No,
I was in the Matrix. Actually, I've got a funny story to tell you regarding the Matrix after you say what after you said your piece.
Oh, my story was, you know how I talked about wanting to play Gas Station Simulator?
Yes.
I watched a couple of videos on it, and now I really want to play Gas Station Simulator.
Okay.
And I think I might.
You're an idiot.
Yeah. Matrix.
Yeah. Well, it has nothing to do with Matrix, but everything to do with Keanu.
Ooh.
So, friend of the show, Cass, is currently in LA.
Did he see Keanu Reeves?
Well, he messaged me the other day saying, I don't know what to do today. I'm in LA. I'm going to the Griffith Observatory. I don't know what else to do with my day. And I'm like, well, Keanu Reeves is currently in LA doing comic book signings for Berserk. Maybe you should go meet Keanu. And he's like, Keanu's overrated. I've only seen The Matrix. So we're not friends anymore.
The fuck, Cass? I would have just gone to rub it in everyone else's face.
I know, right?
I would have been like, hey, Keanu, look, I don't really care about you, but can I get a photo? Thanks. Can you sign this copy of Berserk that says eat a butt, Max? Thanks. Appreciate
I know,
it.
right?
That's what I would do. I'd rub it in someone else's face. I would just go celebrity hunting. I'd be like, what?
I'd go meet him for spite.
Yeah. I'm petty as fuck. I would do many things just to shit someone else over.
Yeah. Crazy kid.
Yeah, man. Like, yeah, I would just go celebrity hunting. I'd be like, hey, where's the hotspots? All right, let's go wander around. Like, I'm here. I'm in LA. I got nothing else to do, apparently. So good times. Anyway, that does bring us to the end of this noticeably shorter episode of For All the Players, the PopC PlayStation Podcast.
Half a page of news doc still spoke for an hour and a half.
53 minutes.
Oh, okay. Oh, no, we started a bit late, didn't we?
Yeah.
Well, everybody, as I rant on as I usually do, this PlayStation conversation happens every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast services, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you'd like to take part in future conversations with us, and alluded to at the start of the show, episode 300 is coming up soon. If you've got some ideas for us, things you want to see, things you want us to discuss, hit us up on socials, Facebook, Discord, Instagram, Twitter. All of those links can be found in the description below.
If you want to join the conversation as it happens, head over to twitch.tv/popcultures, where you watch us record this show live, where you can jump in the chat and become part of the show. If you want to support the show, you can. Tell your friends, tell your family about this PlayStation Pod. If you are listening on podcast services, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review. If you watch us on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment below. I endeavor to answer every single comment. If you want to support us financially, you can at patreon.com/popcultures, as well as our merchandise store, popcultures.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. But until next week, I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Max Cooper.
And that was For the Players.